Elsa Chen wiped down the crystalline surfaces of Emperor Zixathera's throne room for the 100th time that cycle, her weathered hands moving with practiced efficiency. The towering Vorthak ruler lounged on his bioluminescent seat, his 6 eyes glowing with contempt as he observed the daily ritual of subjugation playing out across his vast empire. "The humans grow restless in Sector 7, announced General Kethmore, his mandibles clicking with satisfaction. Another uprising was crushed yesterday. 300 terminated. Zixthera's throat sacs pulsed with pleasure. Excellent. Perhaps now these vermin will understand their place in our glorious empire. Helen Rodriguez, barely 18 and new, to the palace staff, paused in her dusting of the Emperor's collection of conquered species artifacts. Her brown eyes flashed with barely contained anger. 300 people, she whispered, more to herself than anyone else. 300, families destroyed. The Emperor's massive head swiveled toward her, compound eyes narrowing to pinpoints of fury. What did you say, human filth? Every creature in the throne room, advisors, guards, servants, fell silent. The air itself seemed to thicken with tension. Elsa shot Helen a warning glance, but the young woman's jaw was set with determination. I said 300 families were destroyed, Your Magnificence, Helen replied, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. Silence! Zixthera's voice boomed through the chamber, causing several smaller aliens to cower. You forget your place, slave. You exist only to serve. Your opinions are worth less than the dirt beneath my feet. Helen should have bowed her head, should have apologized, should have begged for mercy like every other human had learned to do over the past 50 years of Vorthak occupation. Instead, she took a step forward. With respect, Your Magnificence, she said, her voice growing stronger with each word. You're wrong. The Emperor rose from his throne, his 4-meter frame casting a shadow over the small human. Shut up, you insignificant worm. Guards, prepare the molecular disintegrator. But Helen didn't shut up. She looked up at the alien tyrant, then swept her gaze across every being in that room. The cowering courtiers, the brutal generals, the terrified servants, and spoke words that would echo across the galaxy. You want to know what makes humans different? Helen asked, her voice carrying a strange calm that made even the Emperor pause. It's not our strength. We're not the strongest species you've conquered. It's not our intelligence. Plenty of races are smarter. It's not even our numbers. General Kethmore laughed harshly. Then what, little human? What makes your pathetic species worth anything? Helen smiled, and there was something in that expression that made several aliens step backward. It's that we remember, she said simply. Every single one of those 300 people you killed yesterday, they had names. They had dreams. They had families who loved them. And when you kill us, we don't just disappear. We become stories. We become inspiration. We become the reason the next generation fights harder. Emperor Zixthera's throat sacs began to pale. Enough of this. Maria Santos, age 34, mother of 2, Helen continued, her voice cutting through the Emperor's bluster. She painted flowers on her apartment wall so her children would have something beautiful to look at. You killed her yesterday. Silence her. But Helen's voice only grew stronger. David Kim, aged 19, wrote poetry in 7 languages. He was teaching alien children to read human literature because he believed understanding leads to peace. You killed him yesterday. The guards moved forward, but something strange was happening. Other humans throughout the palace, servants, laborers, the broken and supposedly defeated, were stopping their work. They were listening. Elder Amara Okafor, aged 78, Helen's voice now carried beyond the throne room, somehow reaching every human in the palace through the building's intercom system that Elsa had quietly activated with a skill learned from decades of invisibility. She remembered stories from Earth, before the conquest. She kept our history alive in whispers and songs. You killed her yesterday. What is the point of this? Zixthera demanded, but his voice lacked its earlier power. Helen looked directly into his 6 eyes. The point, Your Magnificence, is that every tyrant in history has made the same mistake. They think that if they kill the body, they kill the spirit. But you can't kill a memory, you can't execute an idea, and you definitely can't destroy hope. Throughout the palace, humans were straightening their shoulders. Throughout the empire, human slaves receiving the broadcast were looking up from their work. Throughout the galaxy, other oppressed species were hearing Helen's words translated into their languages by underground resistance networks. You rule through fear, Helen continued. But fear is temporary. Love is eternal. Hope is unstoppable. And every human you kill just proves to the rest of us that freedom is worth dying for. Emperor Zixthara raised his weapon, his hand shaking, with rage. Your words mean nothing. I will kill you now, and in 1,000 years no one will remember your name. Helen smiled again, sadder now but no less determined. You're wrong again, Your Magnificence. My name is Helen Rodriguez. I'm 23 years old. I'm from New Angeles, Sector 7. I love strawberry ice cream and old Earth movies. I miss my little brother Miguel, who you killed last month. And when you kill me, someone else will remember my name. Someone else will tell my story. Someone else will stand up and say the words you can't silence. She paused, looking around the room one final time. The words that terrify every tyrant in the universe: we will not be forgotten. The shot rang out. Helen fell. But as her body hit the crystalline floor, something unprecedented happened in the Vorthak Empire. For the first time in 50 years, humans across the galaxy stopped working. They stood in silence for exactly 1 minute, a minute of remembrance for Helen Rodriguez and the 300 who had died before her. And in that minute of silence, Emperor Zixthara realized that Helen had been right. He had just made her immortal. The revolution began that day, sparked not by weapons or armies, but by the simple, terrifying power of being remembered.